Tonight, calls for prayers and swift justice in the senseless killing of a Micoud man ring out in a community vigil. St. Lucia pledges $100,000 to the Bahamas recovery effort following the devastation of Hurricane Dorian. And the mayor says young people belong in their homes once school is over, and there's enough to do there to keep them preoccupied. We have the details of these stories and more coming up.
This is the Hot 7 Nightly News with Lovelace and Amy Joseph.
Good night. It is Thursday, the 5th of September 2019. Welcome to the Hot 7 TV Nightly News. We're on Flow, channel 117. We're also being simulcast on Kiss FM 105.5 and 105.9. You can watch on our website. It's www.caribbeanhottv.com, or you can watch on our free Caribbean Hot FM mobile app. I'm lovely St. Amy Joseph. Thank you for joining us. The community of Micoud came together to collectively mourn the death of one of their own, a man who was a pillar in the community, well loved by all who knew him. The small community is still reeling from the explosion of gun violence that claimed Mathurin Donnelly's life.
In the wee hours of Saturday, the 31st of August, the life of Mathurin Donnelly, also known as Brother Craffy, was snatched away by a bullet. An unknown armed assailant fired indiscriminately into a bar called Clyde in Micoud. According to reports, it was an armed robbery gone wrong. The shooting death of 66-year-old Donnelly rocked the close-knit Micoud community. On Wednesday evening, residents came out with their candles in a vigil to honor Donnelly.
We need to come together as a community to stop this crime. We need to be each other's keeper. You see something, say something. The police don't have a crystal ball. They are limited in what they can do. Even with their own intelligence, they cannot. We need to come as a community to be more together. Whether it be politics or whether it be religion, that's not supposed to divide us as we put that. We never knew that in Micoud. We never knew that in growing up in Micoud for 52 years. I've never seen this kind of thing in Micoud. This kind of crime and robbery, this is a heartless and senseless killing. No family should endure that.
Prayers poured out for comfort for Donnelly's family during this time of bereavement, and calls for justice were echoed by speakers.
And Father, as we mourn, you are sitting on the balconies of heaven tonight. And certainly you are impressed by the respondent. You are impressed with the organizers. And tonight you know the secret to the puzzle. You know the culprit. And we know, Father, that he or them will be brought to justice in Jesus' name. You are just God. You are merciful God. You don't like ugly. And evil will not go unpunished under your watch. And so we look to you tonight, Father. We depend on you. And we wait for you, O God. Thank you for equipping the lawmen, our Father, with the necessary skills and equipment, our Father, to bring the culprit to justice. We know it will happen.
Micoud MP Dr. Gail Rigobert also addressed the gathering at the vigil. She mourns the death of not just a constituent, but a close friend.
Please let us join with one another as we raise our candles as an indication of our faith, our sense of community, our hope, our love for one another, and for swift justice. Please raise your candle.
The robbery that led to the death of Mathurin Donnelly was the latest in a string of robberies on island. 2 days following Donnelly's death, a Sarod resident was killed in a robbery. He was stabbed to death.
The government of St. Lucia has pledged US $100,000 to provide immediate relief to the Bahamas following the destruction caused by Hurricane Dorian. The hurricane battered the Abaco Islands and Grand Bahama in the north of the archipelago for 2 days, and it is estimated that at least 20 deaths are linked to the hurricane. The donation by St. Lucia is done in unity with the members of the OECS, who are expected to make a similar pledge and have come out to express their support to the Bahamas during this difficult time. St. Lucia's Prime Minister Alan Chasney, who also serves as CARICOM chairman, is currently in the Bahamas as part of a delegation from CARICOM, CEDIMA, the Caribbean Development Bank, and the Regional Security System, RSS. The Prime Minister and the CARICOM team, which also includes Barbados Prime Minister Mia Mottley, have met with the Bahamian Prime Minister Herbert Minnis and other officials for a detailed briefing on the state of the country. In other news, the days of students crowding the capital after school hours are numbered, as the Castries mayor has vowed to put a stop to loitering. Mayor Peterson Francis says he plans to dedicate time, energy and staff towards ensuring that the city is loiter-free. Rochelle Gonzalez reports.
The mayor of Castries has had enough of the influx of students who take over the streets and sidewalks of the capital daily once school hours are over. Mayor Peterson Francis has vowed to take a stance and to use his powers to put a stop to the issue. Francis said whilst he has held dialogue with teachers and principals of the different schools in Castries in a bid to get them to address the issue with the students, he will also have his city police on active duty to curb the problem. He also called on parents to play their part.
We're not going to go out there and just arrest them. We're going to think, we'll ask them to go home. We'll ask them to think. Again, I don't know what the parents have, but that's another problem. I don't know what the parents have. But like you see, as we're talking, you see that we have signs there, do not ride on the thing. You see a fellow riding in the constitutional land. And this is what we have in St. Lucia. You understand? These are the things we have. I don't know what the parents, I know the parents are very hard pressed. They have their work, and especially if you're working in the hotels and so on, the working hours, we understand that. You understand? But we have to, at the same time, we have to discipline and to put things in place for our young people.
The mayor said his actions are warranted because the activities in which many of the young people get involved are no good.
Just about 2 days ago, I've just had to alert the city police, where you find behind the CDC on that high street, after school, to see the young children. I will not mention the schools, the uniform, but actually behind the CDC, smoking marijuana. The city police had to go there. Somebody called us, and they had to go there, and they've been running and chasing. Parents do not know what is happening, all right? And all of a sudden, people are looking at the mayor of Castries. He's a dictator in trying to help, trying to, curb the situation. You can't have children leaving schools and behind the CDC on High Street. And if you see the people that is encouraging them.
Francis said he knows his approach might not be popular. However, he is willing to accept the backlash just as long as the job gets done in the process. He said strict approaches were used in the past, and not only did they work, but they showed a dedication on the parts of the persons enforcing them.
I read some comments on that press release that I put out as far as the thing. There is some positive thing, but you have people that, again, talking the same nonsense when you're trying to do something right. Children come to the town. We have gone to the schools. We have spoken to principals. I know the principals and teachers are doing their best. I know that one time in my days that we find people going to college, convent, and these secondary schools that I had before. That even teachers, at that time we had what we used to call pictures, gaieties, and you find that you have teachers who actually come at night to see where the children were going to these places and so on. And we had an element of discipline in the school and so on.
Francis said the problem is only going to get worse unless something is done. Reporting for Hot 7 News, I'm Rochelle Gonzalez.
Meanwhile, the Castries mayor says the complaint about a lack of social activities for the nation's youth is no excuse to loiter. He says young people belong in their homes once school is over, as there is more than enough to do there to keep them preoccupied.
Mayor Peterson Francis has become well known for not mincing his words when it comes to expressing his opinions on matters of interest, and on Tuesday, he stayed true to his reputation whilst giving a suggested solution to the issue of loitering in Castries. Francis said there really is no excuse to justify persons wandering the streets aimlessly. However, when presented with the argument that there is a serious lack of social activities for students to gather recreationally, Francis gave a frank response to the concerns.
But they have homes. What is a teenager doing in thing? You go into school. You have to study, you have projects, you have SBAs, you have everything. What are you doing in town? We know they have situations where the parents, by the time they live in work, especially I say when people have, we have some parents who are security guards, we have people who work in the hotel. We understand that. We understand that. But that doesn't mean you can't put things in place. Not everybody's as lucky as one another that you have people to see after. You could send in by a family, a friend, and so on. But we are making excuses. And this is why we are getting the situation we are, because we're making excuses. Why should a school child come to town after school?
Francis said in years past, the youth, both male and female, were taught the basic life skills that would come in handy to them when they grew older. However, this is seemingly a thing of the past.
But they have things to be done in the house. Because your boy will go home, they have dishes to wash. There are things that you can't do in the house. You could make a bed. You could press. You could do all these things. But as far as we're concerned, our children are kings and queens. They must not do anything. So they raise the same way with no skill. They can't do anything for themselves. That is why we have domestic problems, because they're in a house with a lady, the lady have to do everything, because they can't even cut their fingernails. And these are the things, there are things that they could learn. There are things you could instill in them. I could wash, I could press, I could do anything. But these are things the older people taught their children. So when you go for home, you think you have time to go and lunch in town? What in town have? But it's trouble you go get yourself into, one way or the other.
The mayor said although he accepts that times have changed, he said parents still have an obligation to teach their children better. Reporting for Hot 7 News, I'm Rochelle Gonzalez.
This is the Hot 7 TV Nightly News. Still to come, Castries South MP Dr. Ernest Hilaire says the education system is in shambles and decisions being made by the current administration are questionable to say the least. St. Lucia's Calypso Monarch speaks out on depression and suicide. And what is the way forward for the National Sports Academy, formerly the Grosley Secondary School? That and more when we return.